There is a tale, one I can feel but not express. It hovers just out of reach, lingering in fragments like a dream half forgotten but never truly gone. It is about a house on a desolate street and four people who are bound by a strange, unspoken fate. Inside the house, in a dimly lit room, sit two men. The first is slender, pale, with eyes that dart like a mouse cornered by a cat. He wrings his hands, muttering to himself and whispers too low to hear. His name, I do not know. The second man is broad-shouldered, quiet, with eyes like deep wells of sorrow. He gazes at the floor, not moving, barely breathing, his stillness unsettling in the way of statues. But there is another in the house, one hidden away from the others, a woman standing alone in an upstairs room. She watches the moon rise through a cracked window, her face half in shadow, her lips trembling with words she cannot say. She feels trapped, as though the walls of the house are closing in around her, stealing the air from her lungs. She longs for something, perhaps love, perhaps escape, perhaps a nameless desire only the night can know. And then, a knock at the door. The two men downstairs freeze, exchanging uneasy glances. Slowly, with reluctance, the broad-shouldered man rises to his feet and opens the door. A third figure steps into the room, draped in dark robes, face obscured by a hood. His presence fills the space like a thick fog, suffocating the air around him. The nervous man trembles violently, backing into a corner, while the broad-shouldered man stiffens, his gaze meeting the hooded figures. Silence fills the room, heavy and cold. The hooded figure does not speak, but the woman upstairs feels his arrival like a cold wind creeping through the cracks in the walls. She knows that he has come for her, though she does not understand why. Her heart races, but she remains still, waiting. The three men downstairs do not move, their fates suspended in the presence of the newcomer. The nervous man begins to pace, unable to bear the tension, his footsteps echoing in the silent house. The broad-shouldered man watches him, his eyes dull, as though he has already resigned himself to what is coming. And then, as suddenly as he appeared, the hooded figure turns and walks up the stairs. The woman, still standing by the window, feels his approach and closes her eyes. She knows that when he reaches her, everything will change, though she cannot say how. When the hooded figure reaches her, he does not touch her, does not speak. He only stands there, a shadow against the light of the moon. The woman opens her eyes and meets his gaze, and for a moment she feels an overwhelming sense of peace. It is as though she has finally found the thing she's been searching for, the thing she could not name. Downstairs, the nervous man's pacing grows frantic. He is muttering to himself now, pulling at his hair, while the broad-shouldered man watches in silence. Neither of them understands what is happening upstairs, but they feel it in the air. Something inevitable, something they cannot stop. The woman takes a step forward, reaching out to the hooded figure. But just as her fingers brush the fabric of his cloak, he vanishes. The room is empty and she's alone once more. Downstairs, the nervous man collapses to the floor, his body trembling uncontrollably. The broad-shouldered man does not move, his eyes still fixed on the spot where the hooded figure once stood. And in the silence that follows, the house begins to crumble. The walls shake, the floor cracks, and the roof caves in, swallowing the two men downstairs in a cloud of dust and rubble. The woman remains by the window, watching as the house falls apart around her. She does not scream, does not run. She only watches, silent and still, as though she has finally made peace with the story she cannot tell. And when the dust settles, there is nothing left but silence, and the memory of a story that was never spoken.